And we are live on the 91st edition of the Red Man Group. I'm your host and moderator, Donovan Sharp. We are brought to you by, I had my notes up here, but for whatever reason, they are gone. Well, we are brought to you by the 21 convention, which goes down on April 30th through May the 3rd. We're also brought to you by the 22 convention, which goes down May the 1st through May the 3rd. So the 21 and the 22 convention are going to be going down simultaneously. They're going to be running concurrent with one another. And of course, we are also brought to you by the Fraternity of Excellence that is run by Hunter Drew, one of the 21 convention. I think he's going to be the vice patriarch this time, with Tanner Guzzi being the head patriarch. Gentlemen, how are we doing this morning?
Good.
Doing well.
Good stuff. And we're gonna go ahead and open up the phone lines. If you guys want to call into the show, the number is 914-205-5356. Again, that's 914-205-5356. The number is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. If you're calling from outside of the U.S., it is 001-914-205-5356. But before we get started, let us introduce today's panel. First up is Steve the Dean Williams, who runs the website, themanmindset.com. Be sure to check out his weekly show right here on the Red Man Group channel called The Red Man Mindset that goes down every Monday evening at 7 Eastern. Also on the panel today is none other than the CEO and founder of 21 Studios and the 21 Convention, Anthony Dream Johnson. His websites are 21studios.com, the21convention.org, where you get your 21 Convention tickets. Guys, be sure to subscribe to this channel, which is the Red Man Group, as well as this channel, 21 Studios, for exclusive content, video, and to sign up for 21 University. Next up on the panel is Ken Curry. He runs the website, solidman.com?
Yes, sir.
Now, for those who are unfamiliar with you, Ken, because I think this is probably maybe your first or second appearance on the show today. Mm-hmm. Talk to the audience about who you are and what you do.
Sure. I'm in Colorado. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and so that's my regular practice is working with men. I do men's groups and then working with couples. So that's a big thing that I do. I also am starting to expand a little bit on my website. I'm also this next year, I'm learning all this stuff. You guys are all on this. I'm just trying to learn how to do some online stuff. And I'm going to try to build a community of men like Hunter has, and be able to have something because we need as much support as we can. Yeah. And so that's a big part of what I'm doing. And it's an honor to be part of this group and to be able to speak at the Patriarch Convention coming up and the 22 Convention. Looking at that as a really big honor. I got some good stuff brewing about what I'm going to be speaking on. So, yeah, that's good.
All right, good stuff. Steve, what have you been up to? So you're out in Las Vegas today, man. What are you doing out in the 702?
Man, I was out here just laid back chilling, man. That's all. It's just laid back in the cut. I got to get back home tomorrow morning so I can catch the football game. But, yeah, I'm just here relaxing, man.
Good stuff. All right, well, we're going to talk about the myth of unconditional love, at least as far as I'm concerned. And I'll start it off with this, and we can all sort of add our 2 cents one way or the other here. So we've all heard the term unconditional love, right? Like we hear and we see people who want unconditional love from their significant others. We see it on movies and television. We see it and hear it from our families, our friends, coworkers, anybody we interact with on a daily basis. Well, obviously, most of us here, at least as far as I'm concerned, we know that unconditional love is a misnomer, because we know that love, as both an action and a feeling, is extremely conditional in and of itself. Now, on the other side of the coin, some of us may not fully admit to ourselves that unconditional love is a myth. Some of us may know it's a myth, but don't exactly know why or how to put into words or thoughts or really put our finger on it. But most men do not understand that unconditional love isn't reserved for us. Unconditional love is not for men. Unconditional love is for the weak, the defenseless, females, children, and animals. Unconditional love exists for them because they need it, right? Now, a lot of people might be thinking, well, Donovan, there's no way that's true. There are men the world over who get unconditional love from women all the time, their wives and girlfriends and all that. You'd be dead wrong. And I'm telling you this right now, and I'm going to get your opinion here. Your opinion here on this, Ken. As far as I'm concerned, females are utterly incapable of loving anyone or anything unconditionally except for their children and their pets. That's it. As a man, if you think for 1 second that a single female on this planet loves any man unconditionally, you're an idiot, because that's just not possible. It's just not in them. They cannot do it. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's a pretty good setup as far as the whole thing of, I think, you're saying that they can only love children, which I think, or unconditionally love children or pets. Man, I don't have quite as bleak of a view of women as you might. The whole thing, I think it's hard for any human to actually be able to love unconditionally. So the
Yes,
whole idea
absolutely.
of the myth of that, I think even for men to love women, or even men to love their children, I think it's something to attain. I mean, we're in the world, even talking about unconditional, man, we're talking about, this is a God thing. This is deity thing. That can humans actually do this? That's a pretty profound question you're asking.
I don't think it's, to be honest with you, I don't think it's profound at all. And I don't think it requires, I don't think that understanding that love is conditional, I don't think that requires a completely bleak outlook on love and relationships. And I guess when I say love is conditional, there's no such thing as unconditional love. I'm specifically talking about romantic love between a man and a woman.
Dude,
right.
no, I'm totally with you. I'm not saying maybe I said that wrong or something, but the idea that I'm with you that love is conditional. It's something that we would seek and attain to as a human. It's a high
Right.
calling. It's a pretty brilliant thing to pursue. Absolutely. But can we do it? It's man, I don't think it's possible. What'd you say?
I don't think it is. Listen, that's a good question. I don't think we can either. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, mute him.
Me, I don't believe in that love stuff. When it comes to unconditional love, I'm all about unconditional respect.
There it is.
Fuck, yeah, I'd rather have her unconditional respect. Again, I don't want her love. That's her. I mean, listen, we can fall in love later on, but she's got to be able to climb the mountain and grab the ring like Smeagol on Lord of the Rings. So, I don't believe in that fairy tale stuff that they spew on TV and all that stuff. And again, that's for me. Like I say, I think that's for women. It's for women to buy products and buy things to make them feel good. Because women are always pushing their love or unconditional love on feelings and emotions. And as men, I don't think we unconditional love anything. I can see ourselves, but nah, I'm about unconditional respect, brother.
Good answer. Anthony, is there any such a thing as unconditional love?
I mean, yeah, so you're asking if it even exists. I suppose it could exist, but I don't think you'd want to practice it. So I might have a different take on this than the rest of the panel.
Let's hear it.
So first of all, one of the best books, or the book that first introduced me to this, was The Psychology of Romantic Love by Dr. Nathaniel Branden. He died a couple years ago, but I got to meet him as well and spent about 4 or 5 hours at his house back in 2012 after the convention we held in Australia. And this is the first book where I saw it. Hang on, let me mute Steve real quick because I like feedback. So that was the first book I'd ever seen that was very critical of the idea of unconditional love. And kind of like you're saying, Donovan, although not quite as bleak as Ken put it, it was very critical of the concept and that it's not healthy. And I stand by that. And so when I found the Red Pill community in 2016, the criticism I saw there of unconditional love was very reminiscent of what I saw in the philosophy of objectivism, which he was a big part of back in the 1960s and stuff like that. This is actually Ayn Rand's like alpha. This guy was banging Ayn Rand back in the day and all kinds of shenanigans way back in the earlier America. Anyway, yeah, I don't think, like you talked about in your speech, Donovan, at the 21 convention, and we put out a preview clip of it, and people were really triggered by that and polarized the panel. Yeah, I thought it was good too. That's why I wanted.
Oh my God!
I was like, yeah, but no, it's not. I don't, especially in a romantic context, I don't see it as healthy. Like, why would you even? We talk about women loving men unconditionally. Why would you even want to love a woman unconditionally?
Right.
I don't know why you'd want to do that. The conditions that she sets for her life, the standard she holds for herself, for her behavior, for her appearance, for her beauty, for her character qualities, these are things she has to work on, maintain, even build a little bit, although mostly as a woman maintain it, as we discussed in the past episodes, as differences between men and women. So, and then from the, woman to man, like, why would you want her to love you unconditionally? Would you not want her to love you for what and who you are? Being fit, being in shape,
right,
being masculine, becoming more masculine over time, succeeding in life, surviving through trauma and all kinds of things are going to go obstacles in life as a man. These are reasons why. I mean, we say that women love winners. Well, okay, great, no shit. When you win, that means you've succeeded in life. That means you've navigated reality some way successfully. And women are drawn to that. They're drawn to power. They're drawn to masculinity. They're drawn to all these different characteristics that we discuss. So yeah, I'm not a fan of unconditional love, and I don't think it's a good thing between a man and a woman. I don't think it's healthy, and a lot of blue pill dudes, especially, will be super into this because it's like you talked about, Donovan, too, like the male burden of performance.
Yeah,
blue pill guys today and beta guys, I've seen guys, but
they're not interested in it.
Dude, I've seen guys married for like maybe 2 years into their marriage talk about this stuff. Old friends that I used to work with when I was in college and shit, and you hear it, and it's just like gross, man. It's like, yeah, if I get fat, you'll still love me, blah blah blah, and it's like, dude, that's why she's gonna love you a lot less. Like if you're getting fat and lazy, like hello, why is this okay for you to even think that? But that's what guys are fed, and it's fucking gross.
Hey Donovan, can we take a second with even defining the terms? Like,
yeah,
what is this that we're talking about?
Yeah, so what we're talking about is we're asking the question and sort of making a statement. Is there such a thing as unconditional love romantically between a man and a woman? I think that's what we're talking about. Let's actually talk about some of the conditions to love. Now, I think that there are conditions to love. I think we all have different definitions, and I'll go ahead and give you mine first. For me, for a female of potential quality, and by female of potential quality, I'm talking about a female who's physically attractive. She doesn't have to be hot. She doesn't have to be a smoke show. She doesn't have to be this. She doesn't have to have this ravenously beautiful face. She simply needs to be fit and have a decent looking face. But a female of potential quality is a female who is physically attractive, a female who understands and abides by and truly believes in traditional sex and gender roles and conducts herself as such. In order for those females of potential quality to truly fall in love with you as a man, you have to have a few basic things in place to lay the groundwork. And guys, listen, I've talked about these things ad nauseum. Got to be in above average shape, got to be financially responsible, got to know how to handle.
Well, hang on a second. I want to have some pushback on this. It sounds to me like you're talking about attraction and arousal and things like that, which I would see as distinct from love, romantic love or otherwise. So no, I don't know if we're talking about the same things here.
I think, well, that's actually a really good, that's a good comment. Here's the thing. And I don't know, I'll put this question to the panel. As far as I'm concerned, a woman has to be sexually attracted to a man in order to love him in the physical romantic sense. Definitely. Like if a woman doesn't want to have sex with, listen, I'm sure that there are so many women out here that they have guys in the friend zone. They love him unconditionally. Doesn't matter how fat he gets. Of course they love him unconditionally. They're never going to fuck the guy. They're never going to depend on him. Right. But for a woman to love a man romantically and fall in love, romantic love with that man, it is my assertion that a man has to have a few things in place: physical fitness, financial shrewdness. What say you guys? What do you guys think?
Oh, let me get Steven. Sorry. Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, no, you know me, Dom. I don't. From my side of the street, because I keep telling you guys, if you're building your body for a woman, if you're doing anything for a woman, you're doing it the wrong way. If you want to work out because you want to work out, that's fine. But for a lot of guys, they keep forgetting this. Working out, having a nice car, and all these other stuff is not going to cover up the fact that you're not assertive, that you're not clear and concise, that you're not that you don't have any laws, rules, and codes, that you can't stand up for your principles, your narratives, and all those other things. So, and one thing, yes, if you want to get your body right for you, that's fine, but she's not going to fall in love with the outer you. It's what you bring to the table. Absolutely. That she's going to invest in. So, from my side of the street, I don't ever want to tell guys not to work out. Do what you want to do for yourself. That's what I tell anybody. But you've got to understand this. She's making an investment. It's either you versus brand X. She wants to make sure that the guy that she quote unquote falls in love with are guys that can make her feel. Remember, they're emotional. So we're looking at romantic, smooth, seductive, sweet, kind, sexual, and things like that. It's the little things for women sometimes. So not necessarily the body and all the other stuff, which you can have. But sometimes people cover up the fact, they hide behind the body and all that other stuff. Then they wonder why someone's knocking on Anthony's door at like 2:30 in the morning and not being with them.
I totally agree. And I guess like Ken, I guess I should have explained myself a little bit further. Guys like us, men who follow the type of work that we do, I guess I should have explained that because, and Steve, you're so much better at this than I am because you don't assume that anybody knows anything. Like you don't don't take anybody's ignorance or lack thereof for granted. You say, look, here's what's necessary. I guess, and I try not to revert back to sort of the red pill 101 thing, but assuming, of course, that a man is assertive, he has his life together, he has everything in place. And I'll even tell you this, I'll even piggyback off of what Steve said. The more things that you have, the more intangibles you have, the better a shot. Not really the better shot, the more likely it is for a woman to fall in love with you. But I will tell you this, all things being equal, let's say that two men have the exact same intangibles. They have the same assertiveness. They know how to handle women. They don't feed into their shenanigans. They know how to be romantic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Let's not pretend that the guy who's in a little better shape, who has a little better financial outlook, is not going to have more opportunities. But just like Steve said, on the other side of the street, opportunities doesn't equal success.
I just want to say,
hold on. You can put yourself in position to be sexually attractive, but if you're not ready for that success, then you're not going to be any more or less successful than the fat guy living at his mom's house.
Okay, this is the only thing I want to say real quick. What guys have to understand when it comes to women, because a lot of guys don't understand women. Women are different. Some women think skinny guys are too fragile. Some women like guys with guts. Some women like tall. Then if it comes to two different guys, it then will fall on the preference of the woman and what she sees as what she wants. Because some women don't like muscles. Some women do. All women are not the same. So I would just say in that case, it's the woman making that final choice when you have two guys the exact same, sir.
I respect. Go ahead.
I want to hop in here and go back to Ken's question a little bit about defining terms. So philosophically, I view, and this is what I got from Nathaniel Brandon years ago, and I still agree with it to this day. In the most basic sense, to love is to value, and that could be between family, that could be between lovers, that can be all kinds of things, even between friends. If you love someone or you love something, that means you value it in some way, in a very generalized sense. What we're talking about, though, with romance, intimacy, long-term relationships, that's like a deeper level of it. Or you're triggering maybe even in the brain, you're hitting more parts of the brain. With women, alpha 10.
Well, that's what we're discussing, though, right? I mean, we're talking about romantic love between men and women. Yeah, sure,
but I think it has other. Like you even mentioned that the woman can love children and pets supposedly unconditionally. And I think in most cases, I don't even know if they should there. Should Adolf Hitler's parents still love him?
Of course not, but they do because they're his parents. And again,
I don't know if they do, and I don't know if I agree
that's an
with
extreme example, but you see all the time. Son or daughter commits crime. Mom and dad know, the Anthony family, Casey Anthony, right?
Yeah.
Casey Anthony's mother and father, they knew that she allegedly killed her daughter, Kaylee. But they were ride or die for her. Should they have been? Of course not. But they're her parents, and I'm not a parent, so I couldn't possibly understand the love that a parent could have for their child. But I think in that particular, and now it also depends on the people. There's some people who are just, they're just not really built the same way as most people. They love their children, but they wouldn't love them unconditionally. So I think that it's very important for us to differentiate the difference between, and the love I talk about is the only kind of love I'm experienced with. That's romantic love between a man and a woman. I can't speak to unconditional love for your kids because I don't have any. But does that factor in?
You have siblings and parents. I mean, do you love them?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm not saying obviously they're not the exact same thing, not even close.
Sure, but I understand what you mean.
The foundation is what I'm saying is there's a foundational similarity, but romantic love is different in a big way because you have to build it from scratch.
Right.
You're obviously, you better not be blood related to that person. So there's a big difference.
We got problems.
Yeah, I know. One of our old speakers, Dr. Yaron Brook, he was actually the president of the Ayn Rand Institute. He's still the chairman to this day. He spoke at our convention a couple times back in 2012. Yeah, it was 2012, and he talked about how children should not love their parents unconditionally.
Wow.
Parents should love their children for the most part unconditionally, but from the other way around, no.
What do you think about that, Ken?
Yeah, it's controversial on the channel.
Say it again, Anthony.
He says that this dude says children should not love their parents unconditionally, but parents should love their kids unconditionally. What do you think?
Yep. I'm thinking, because Donovan, you were kind of pushing on this. What if my kids did something really horrible?
Yeah.
The whole thing, is it possible? Is it even possible, or should it happen? I think the parents, it does come down to that whole idea of value. And is this person incredibly valuable? Because what you're actually doing is your children are your legacy, and they're the ones that are going to carry on your name. They're going to carry on your values into the world long after you're gone. And it's like, is this something that's valuable to me? And I want my kids to do that. And so I definitely love my children. The whole idea of how I think we had something on Twitter, gosh, a month ago or so, the whole thing about how too many families are kid-centric, and there's too much where the family orbits around the kids too much anymore.
Wow.
Yeah,
How
Tanner
about that?
Guzzi was talking about that in his patriarch speech that just came out. How the kids become gods and they like lead
Steve,
their parents.
listen, Steve has, how many children do you have, Steve?
He's
Last I
Mike
checked,
again.
yeah, I can,
Last I checked.
yeah, last I checked, yeah, I think it was like 6.
Right. But if you follow Steve on social media, Steve loves his kids. He loves his children. You can see that. But Steve's life doesn't revolve around his children, certainly factor into his life, but his life doesn't revolve around his children, right? Like, how do you strike that balance, Steve? Because we do see helicopter parents and this whole God complex. You see these single moms. Oh, my son is my king. He's my prince. He's my everything. That to me is unhealthy.
Yeah,
how do you
right.
keep away from that?
Well, I do it like nature. I train them to be super independent, and I train them to be super responsible and super accountable and things like that. I'm there to support them. Again, this is part of the stuff that you got to talk about before you even have kids with a woman or a wife. But these are things like college and things. Everybody's gonna get a car, everybody's gonna get their college paid for, but they're gonna have to maintain their grades. Soon as they stop maintaining their grades and they want to do whatever they want to do, you go right ahead. Then you're good. But it's just for me, it's uploading respect and honor and integrity and all those things in those kids early on. There's no timeouts or anything like that. I'm a little bit from the old school. I'm in from the old school, but they're honor roll students, and they're doing their thing. But yeah, it's easy. It's an easy balance. Again, I don't want to say when you're a man, but when you know yourself well enough, because as a man, you've got to handle different pots.
Right.
I mean, all of y'all are doing that right now. Even if you have kids or you don't have kids, you're maintaining your lives because you have different lives that you have to look over as a king. So it's just the same thing. It's just that they're just your kids. That's all, man.
Well, let's seamlessly segue into what Steve and Anthony were talking about a little bit earlier. And this is a woman loving you for who you are versus what you are. Now, I've always been of the mind until about 15 minutes ago, and maybe I need to add a little bit more dimension to my own opinion here, but a woman doesn't love you for who you are. She loves you for what you are. But if who you are is assertive, dominant, well-respected, steadfast in your belief, that's really more of a who rather than a what. So I guess what I mean to say is so long as you remain steadfastly these things that you are, a woman is always going to love you. But the minute you cease to be those things, the minute you cease to be who you are, demanding, commanding, dominant, assertive, steadfast, etc., a woman will absolutely fall out of love with you. The minute you stop becoming who and what you are that drew her to you in the first place, a woman she'll fall out of love with you as quickly as the day is long. Steve, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, real quick, it's just like a football team falling out of love with the coach. The coach, or sometimes the coach is inspiring the team.
Sure. So, and there's always the honeymoon period when they first hire him, right?
Yeah, they're all excited, but when you lose the team, when the team doesn't believe in the coach, that's when you lose the team, right? Because they don't believe in the leader of the team. And that's why when the 21 is important for all these young men, because we're pushing these young men to be great leaders. And a woman does not, I keep telling you, a woman does not want to be with a man whose pussy is tighter than hers.
Right.
And so that's the truth.
Ken,
I want to.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
I wanted to comment here that I mentioned earlier in the show my opinion, and this is what Nathaniel Brandon advocates too, and many objectivists in their philosophy of objectivism, that unconditional love in a romantic sense, especially, is unhealthy. And maybe in a familial sense, it's not. Like parent to children, I think there's a lot of debate there.
Of course.
But between an adult man and a woman, I don't see how it's healthy. I think it's dysfunctional, and in particular, I think what it means is that you want something for nothing.
Yes.
You want to get something for free. No matter what you do, no matter if, like, in case you mentioned Casey Anthony, right here in Orlando, right? All that shit that went down years ago. I mean, think about her parents. If Casey Anthony killed their grandchild, should they continue to love their child? I mean, how fucking far down the road of boundary violations do you have to go?
Exactly.
What is that, infanticide? Like killing your own
infanticide, yeah.
And that wasn't just her child that she killed. That was their grandchild,
Yes.
assuming that she did it, right? You know, knock on wood.
Dude, listen. Listen. OJ did it. Casey Anthony did it.
Yeah.
End of discussion. I'm not debating that.
And that's just like not a micro case, but that's like a very specific case of a boundary violation of committing a serious crime. And then obviously you have even more extreme examples like genocidal maniacs that kill thousands and millions of people.
Yeah, those are psychologically disturbed. Yeah,
dude, they had parents though. I mean, Adolf Hitler was a painter when he was like, in his teens and 20s.
Yeah, painter. Yeah, right.
Like, I'm sure at some point in his life, his parents loved him, and at some point, I don't know what the fucking history of it is, but at some point they probably should have stopped. And
well, here's the thing.
But in a romantic sense, hang on. My final point though, and the most important point is that women and men both that want this, I think it's a form of like intellectual or even like soul laziness. Like, why do you want someone to love you for doing no matter what you do, even if you become a huge piece of shit, whether that's a murderer murdering your own child, or you're just become a lazy ass. Like,
so that you can become a huge piece of shit and a lazy ass and continue to get and I said this at my 21 convention speech. You want to put it in cruise control. You want to get fit and get all this money, and then as soon as you have her unconditional love, all right, that's it, I'm done. And that's what we call the continuing burden of masculine performance. But Anthony mentioned something very important that I want to get Ken's take on. The difference between feeling love and showing love to me are two different things. Let's just take the extreme example. The Anthony family and the Hitler family. Okay, I'm sure Mr. and Mrs. Hitler probably still loved Adolf because that is their offspring, that's their child. Doesn't necessarily mean that they have to show it. Hey, listen, Adolf, we love you, but I'm not going to support you. You're trying to take over Germany. You're over there killing the Jews. Listen, we still love you and all, but like, we can't swim with you. Is there a difference, Ken, between feeling love and showing love as an action?
Okay, so this is what you guys are talking about is a really powerful, significant part of anything that happens in marriage therapy. It's like any couple that comes into my office is dealing with exactly what we're talking about. And it's the transition from the whole feeling love to the moving toward committed love. And if committed love is similar to what we're talking about, the unconditional love, maybe we're talking about that. But the whole idea of feeling love, that's what you're talking. Right. What's going to happen in this moment? Every relationship starts with this whole thing of external validation. I feel good with you when I'm with you, and you feel good about yourself when you're with me. And it goes back to the whole idea of frame, like Steve's talking about. Because what happens is the honeymoon is over. All of a sudden, shit hits the fan, and then all of a sudden, I don't have that external validation anymore. And the statement that I hear every single time is, "I love you, but I'm not in love with you."
Oh, that's a cop out,
right? Yeah. Oh, but that's the line. That's the line. Because, but it is here. It's the transition. Wait a second, Anthony. It's the transition from romantic love to committed love.
Boom! Oh wow, that's good.
And it's at that. There's a point. It's the honeymoon's over. Shit hits the fan. But now a couple has the choice to be able to choose. If we're going to continue this relationship, it's got to be built on a totally different platform other than external validation. And that's where what Steve's talking about with having frame, being the man that you are, and this is where. And it doesn't really have to do with now you choose to be with me. I love what Steve's talking about, because it's at that moment a man chooses, I'm going to be the man I need to be. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be physically healthy. And I'm going to move forward because I'm not doing it to save my marriage. I'm doing it because I'm saving me. Yeah. And in that, then that's the platform in which to have a good relationship. Because the equation is I don't need you. I want you. Right. I want you. I don't need you. And that's the whole thing, is the whole thing of the romantic relationship is all about, I need you. I have to have you in my life. And it has to shift. It's not have to, it's going to. Every single relationship hits the honeymoon is over period, and then has a choice. Do we move forward and build something strong on a strong foundation, or do we just blow it up and we're done?
Anthony, you had some thoughts on what Ken was saying.
Yeah, just from perusing, thousands of posts on Reddit, and this is not a secret in the manosphere, but separate from what Ken has experienced, which I don't have the full detail on, obviously, but I would view, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. That's like that would be like the marriage. Now I don't know if I grasp the full context of what Ken's saying with this, but that to me is like marriage level friend zone. And we see that in dead bedroom communities on Reddit and other places too. I mean, that's something specific that women say too. I don't.
Yeah, it
imagine
is
the men
really
say they're
very
very often.
specific to women, Anthony. Yeah.
Yeah, and that to me too. I mean, my theory on that would be that's like the alpha view. Her alpha view of you has been broken down or obliterated, and there's nothing left but the beta element of you, which she needs too. She needs to be provided for and protected and things like that. But she's lost completely the feels for you, the tingles, the danger, the romance.
It's I've lost the love and feeling.
Yeah, the mystery of it. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, all of it. Yeah.
Let me go back to what Anthony said a little bit earlier. And this goes back to what I talked about briefly in my 21 convention speech. Unconditional love is within the construct of a romantic sexual love between a man and a woman, presumably unrelated. It's not good for either sex. And I'll tell you why here. Females shouldn't want to stay with men who let themselves go. Females shouldn't want to be with a man who doesn't hold her accountable, a man who isn't driven, a man who isn't goal-oriented. We damn sure don't want to be with women who have let themselves go, right? Like, we don't want our women getting fat and complacent. So what makes us think that she wouldn't go anywhere if we did the same thing, right?
I mean, how would our race have lived this long and evolved this long if women were just completely okay with like fat and lazy, or if we were okay with it too? Women just like, that's bad for your children.
If your
woman gets fat and lazy, your children are going to be fat epigenetically. Right. There's like science behind this.
Conditional love is evolutionarily essential. I guess that's a long way of putting it, but that but here's the thing. Just talking strictly from an emotional perspective, right? If you lose your physical edge, you don't deserve her. Okay? She should leave you. If you lose the ability to physically protect her, she shouldn't stay with you. She should get with someone who can. What sense does it make to stay with a man who can't protect his own family and who isn't strong mentally, who doesn't keep her and her children in check? If you develop a gambling problem or a drug addiction, you don't deserve her love, guys. You don't deserve her to stick around, because if your money is being spent on gambling or drugs, it won't be long before your finances are not conducive to financial stability, which is necessary to take care of your family. Of course, she has the right to jump to another ship. The one she's on is sinking. Like I said earlier, a female's love for a man has to be conditional. It is a survival mechanism for females. It has to be conditional, because if it's not, everybody loses. A female loses protection and provision, and a man ends up losing the female. Now, Steve, you are clearly the patriarch of your family. In terms of the masculine burden of performance, do you feel the pressure, and do you embrace the fact that, hey, you know what? I like that my family relies on me. I like that I like that my children and my wife, I like that they lean on me. I like that they rely on me for their very survival and well-being.
Oh, yeah, but real quick on what y'all saying, y'all got to understand, guys, y'all going to get old one day. You know, everybody gets old. Metabolisms are slowing down. You know, things are going to start creaking on you and things like that.
So is she, right? Like, so is she. And again, this is the value. This is the value in, value out thing. Yeah.
Right. But your question is asking is how do I handle is there pressure of them leaning on me and everything? There's no pressure, because this is what I accepted as a man. I again, at the end of the day, I always push my name, my legacy, my bloodline. So this is what I wanted to do. That's why I got out the game of being a whore and a gigolo, because I wanted to settle down, and I wanted a carbon copy me, because I'm an arrogant asshole that's really conceited, cocky, and I'm just all those things. So I wanted to duplicate me in as many as I can. I posted about Eddie Murphy having 10 kids. I'm jealous. I wish I could have 10 or 15 kids, because
does he really have 10 kids?
Damn.
Yeah, I think he has 10 kids. Yeah, he's got 10 kids. Yeah, look it up on here. Yeah, I'm jealous of Eddie Murphy, man. But because I know what I am, and I know what I bring to the table, and I know what I expect. I mean, but before you have these things, you got to know you. You just can't jump into relationships with women without knowing you first, and that's why we push this so much on people. The world is going to lean on you. Everybody's going to look to you for answers. And if you don't have the answers, that's when you start to lose the respect, brother.
Okay, so That's a lot to unpack. Ken, you have children, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got 3 adult children.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Sure.
Okay. So expound on what Steve said a little bit earlier, because what he just said makes perfect sense. This is what he accepted. What say you?
Yeah, so I think I'm not sure. My brain was going somewhere else then. I wasn't following Steve exactly. So I was still thinking about this conversation we were having, where it was going a little bit ago with the whole idea of the transition. Because both Donovan, you and Anthony are. It's funny how you and Anthony are in one place, Steve and I are in one place, and the whole idea. Steve's thinking doing his 20th anniversary this weekend.
I'm the only guy here that's single, man. All you guys are taken, man. I'm only bachelor on the panel.
But the whole idea of the longevity of a relationship, it requires a level of commitment. And so what Steve was talking about, you're going to get old, your bones are going to creak, you're going to get wrinkles, your hair is going to turn gray. There's going to be a pretty significant level of your things falling apart and limitations and all that. And she's not going to be as beautiful as she was. You're not going to be as strong physically as you were. And so I do agree. We want to do everything we can to maintain frame and build our internal frame as much as we possibly can. But when it really comes down to it, the thing that holds the relationship together is the commitment. I'm committed to my kids. I'm committed to my family. I'm committed to my wife. But primarily, the priority goes, I'm committed to myself, making sure I'm the best damn strong man I can be. I'm then committed to my relationship as a couple. And next, I'm committed to my kids. It's got to be in that order. And if you miss that, and so many guys do, where they put the wife on the pedestal, putting the kids on the pedestal, we can't do that. It's got to be the order where I have to be committed to myself.
I think that's really interesting too, Ken, because most people would not agree with you, and that they would prioritize their relationship with their kids over the relationship with their wife.
Oh man, that is like one of the biggest pitfalls ever.
I agree strongly.
It is so big.
Yeah.
It's such a pitfall, because what the kids need is mom and dad who are tight. Mom and dad who love, mom and dad who are having sex, mom and dad who are just really loving each other.
Well, I see it as they need an example of what a healthy, functional relationship is between a man and a woman. And that's what people just are completely oblivious to that. And I think they use their kids as an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think, let me ask you this, Ken, because this is a very good, sort of segue here. And I want to get your thoughts and Steve's thoughts, because you guys have kids. Do you think that prioritizing your relationship, and I guess I'm asking this in the same way, but do you think that people in general prioritizing their relationships with their kids rather than their significant other, the person they have the kids with, do you think that's damaging to the family, and why is that?
So it's damaging to the family because what the kids need is security. And they need to, like you said, the modeling of a really healthy, good relationship. And when parents have a united front with discipline, when there's obvious PDA, public display of affection, you want your kids to say "ew" all the time. You just want that to happen all the freaking time. The kids, the level of security that a child's going to have in their life when they know that mom and dad are loving each other is just extraordinary. And this is what so many kids are missing. We were talking about dead bed, and we're talking about, trust me, there's tons of guys that don't have any affection. They don't have any love. And that's the thing that completely destroys a family. And it gives the kids where they don't know what to expect. And so here's Jimmy in 3rd grade, his best friend, his parents having a divorce. He's sitting there, is my parents going to do that? No, when he gets home and mom and dad are kissing and loving and playing a little bit of, slap ass and stuff like this. It's like the kid's not going to feel it. They're going to, mom and dad are totally different. Exactly. It's like mom and dad are wrestling again. What the hell?
Well, hey, we got Phil, guys. I want to bring him in.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
There we go. Phil, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Phil.
Good morning, gentlemen.
And wait, before we let Phil go, no, that is not Richard Cooper on the screen. We had so many people saying, dude, is that Rich Cooper? No, we understand that. You guys look almost identical, but no, this is Phil. Phil, you're in a long-term relationship. And I think that's 80% of us on this panel are in some sort of long-term relationships. you have children, so 60% of us have children, so we all fall into different demographics as far as relationships are concerned. What are your thoughts just in general on unconditional love in terms of romantic love between a man and a woman, presumably non-related? I had to put in all those disclaimers there.
All right, Phil, do your best.
All right, so let's see here. Let's see what I can do for you. So that kind of situation for me is the unconditional love part. Okay, do I love my wife? Absolutely, I love her. Are we a team? Absolutely. Does that, mean that tomorrow something better might not come along? Possibly.
There you go.
But that goes both directions. You see, so
Bingo.
we both need to work at this situation, in my opinion. And she shares that same opinion. I have a certain set of standards and guidelines that I choose to run my home by, and she chooses to agree to that set of standards and somewhat guidelines, I guess you would call them, and live up to them. And when she doesn't live up to them, I call her out on it. And so likewise, a lot of guys, they say, oh, well, you're tricking because you're married or whatever. And I have to say this, I'm going to be honest with you. Marriage to me is transactional. It's very transactional.
Absolutely.
You got to be able to go out and swing the sword, and the woman is her job for me in my home is to nurture and to embody the home as far as taking care of the family, taking care of the house, any kind of delegated task that I give her, she takes care of as well. And the rest of it falls on my shoulders, and unless I delegate other things. But I think unconditional love, I've been married once before. So to say that that's such a thing, I would have to disagree, for the simple fact is, if I've been married before and I professed in front of my family and peers and in the church that, I love you till death do us part. Well, that's not the case. So obviously I've proven that theory wrong. I think that people that believe in, there's this true love and true destiny, and you're the one for me, I'm the one for you right now. And that's a reality basis, the way I feel of it. Now, if I'm not handling my business, then someone else might be the one
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how I feel about that, and obviously I've missed a little bit of the show, so I'm kind of
you're right where we are, man. You're right where we are.
I got something I want to add real quick. I think this will really this will be kind of mind blowing for some guys, or it'll affect real lives, I think. And Phil just made me think of this. So when I got married to, where's that audio come from? Yeah, when I had the marriage in Vegas, actually, where Steve's at. I didn't get legally married, but we had a private marriage. We had a wedding. Both families came out. We traded rings, vows, all these things. She even took my last name. One of the things I put in my vows that really upset both families, and of course, I didn't give a flying fuck. I went ahead with it. I'm glad I did, and I'd do it again someday, and I will. I said until life or death do us part. And this really raised some eyebrows, and it was very I have this on video if you guys want to see it.
I gotta see it.
Yeah, it's epic, dude. So I don't know if I can maybe pull it up right now. Fuck, I don't know where the fuck it's at, the video, but anyway, I have it somewhere. But yeah, that really raised some eyebrows, because everyone's like, till death do us part, till death do us part, till death do us part. And I actually read it from Nathaniel Brandon, not in that book, but he did an interview about romantic love in the 80s or 90s or something. And I saw him discuss that. And for me, that meant, I was marrying this woman on the condition that, a couple conditions, such as that she was not a prostitute. That wasn't really explicit. That was more of implied. But specific to things like any kind of domestic violence, serious abuse like that, infidelity, I had zero tolerance for that shit, which is why 2 years later, the minute I discovered the adultery and then the prostitution, I left immediately. That ring came off in 15 minutes flat. But that's what I meant by life or death do us part. And I think most people, in practice, live like that anyway. Look at the fucking divorce rates. They get divorced for all kinds of frivolous crap. But never mind serious stuff. That's a serious boundary violation. And that is life doing us part. Goodbye. And I think most men should maintain boundaries like that with an
Yeah,
iron fist.
Anthony, you're doing a great job talking about boundaries. Boundaries are absolutely an essential in a relationship.
And boundaries are conditions, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so that therefore it's conditional. And so Phil, you were kind of pushing in on this, the whole thing of a man who has frame has non-negotiables. And that's a boundary. And so, and usually there's just a few. There's a, if you have sex with another man, if there's only a couple things. And these are the boundaries, non-negotiables, that if this happens, we're done. Yep. Or the thing about this relationship, we're seriously going to take a hit. And that's being able to say no. And that's the condition that we're talking about. What I was really pushing in on, because you're talking about the frivolous crap. And that's where, if it's not part of my non-negotiables, then that's where I have to be able to stay with my commitment. It's my vow. It's the thing, especially if you have kids, to be able to go, man, I'm not going to break this shit up just because of, something happened or some, you made a mistake or whatever. If it goes against the non-negotiables, obviously, then we're going to talk about this, or it may break the relationship.
I mean, that's even setting an example for your children as a son or your daughter.
Absolutely.
They should not tolerate that in their future.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Children do look to you as the example. This is why we've discussed, hey, it's very important for the husband and the wife to have to interact with each other so that children can see what a healthy, functioning marriage or relationship looks like. I'll put it to you this way. Women love to say they love unconditionally. And I think they say this because if women are a lot of things, but they want to be, they want to think of themselves as morally superior. They don't like to think of themselves as, quote, shallow. As far as they're concerned, if there are conditions to loving a man, if you don't love a man unconditionally, you are shallow. This is why they call men shallow when we say, listen, if you get fat, you're gone. I'll put it to you this way, regardless of what these women say or do. If I stop being what I was, Devin would vanish, no doubt. And she should. If I can't keep her in line, if I can't demand her best, if I lose my ability to physically protect her, if I don't take pride in my personal appearance, if I become lazy and unmotivated, she'd check out. These are all things that I had before I found her. That doesn't make her a bad person, gentlemen. This makes her a woman. And I'll put it to you like this. I want to get your opinion on this, Phil. In my mind, expecting a woman to love you unconditionally, it's kind of like putting your trust in your climbing gear, regardless of the condition it's in. What sense would it make to put your life at the mercy of faulty climbing gear? Your ropes and hooks are frayed. They're all rusty. They're falling apart. But because when you got them, they were in perfect condition and never let you down, you're supposed to risk your life based on what they were as opposed to what they are now? That's what you're asking a female to do when you expect her to love you unconditionally. When you've let yourself go in so many ways, but then you expect her to feel exactly the same as she did back when you met her, when you were dominating life, to me, that's unrealistic. So what are your thoughts on and I guess we'll call it again, the masculine burden of performance? Why is it that you and Steve and everybody on this panel embrace this, and why most men want to put it in cruise control? She should love me for me if she wants me to love her for her.
My thoughts on that is plain and simple. Men like to be comfortable, so
yes,
it's hard to take care of yourself. It's tough. Oh, I got to go lift weights and watch what I eat and do the right thing 80% of the time. And, everybody's always looking for a friggin' cheat code. Guys I work with, they're always trying to look for the workaround on the diet. Hey, I need to lose this weight to get to this body fat, but I can't give up the booze. I'm a drinker. Oh, I got to have that alcohol, well, then you don't want it. You don't want it bad enough, to expect your woman to just lay down when you become a fatty, unmotivated. If you don't have your financial house in order, but when you guys met, you were in shape, you were financially stable, you were a pillar that she could actually grab onto. That's the whole point of this whole thing. You're the rock, and they kind of cleave to that rock, for rock. Stability, So the way I look at it is, if you can't do that, hell yeah, she's going to look somewhere else.
Right.
Hell yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And on the inverse of that, it's the same way for me. You have to make weight in my house. Ken was talking about the non-negotiables. The big thing for me, there's non-negotiables, and my non-negotiables, my list is pretty serious. You know what I mean? I have a weight limit, that I like my wife to be. I have a certain expectation on the way she looks and dresses out in public.
Is that weight limit literally numerical?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. What if he gets bigger tits, though? Does it get changed?
Yeah, we factor that in, but she's already got bigger boobs, so it's all good. We live in Texas, the land of double Ds and SUVs. So
okay, all right, great.
So it's
everything's bigger in Texas, right?
That's right, brother. That's right. Except for her waistline. Except for her waistline.
Okay. Wow.
So here's the deal. My wife will actually go out and she's like, God, I need to go talk to that woman. She needs some friggin' help. Literally, the way I look at it and the way she looks at it is she has an expectation to meet as well. So, I think that where was I going with this? You kind of distracted me with the tits.
Sorry about that. I think this comment actually, I think is
the non-negotiables. Yeah. So Ken brought that up. My biggest thing is not having the same conversation twice. Once we talk about it once, it should be a done deal. That's it forever. That's my non-negotiable right there. If we have a scrape over something, we get through that scrape and that's it. That's the end of it. We don't need to deal with that ever again because it won't happen. Right?
Right. And if we have to have that second, if we do have to have that second conversation, not a conversation. It's going to be something much more boisterous. Area code 469 keeps jumping in and out of the queue. Steve, go ahead.
I want to again. I don't. Me. I always like to go on this other side of the street. I don't want to give these guys a false sense of reality. They got to understand something in life. Women's metabolism slows down. Baby weight comes into the equation. Yeah, you can get your woman to work out and all this other stuff, but I'm gonna tell y'all from an ex-gigolo. Most of the women I used to smash whose husbands were fit and had all this stuff going for them. They had the perfect job, the nice house on the hill, and a nice car. I was smashing their women on the side, and their greatest complaint was that these men didn't know how to be romantic. They didn't know how to hold their wives. See, what a lot of guys can understand, yes, women, like we all as men, we can't expect women to look at us the way we look at them. Women do love sexy things, but when women falls in love with you, they don't fall in love. They understand that we all gonna get old. There's gonna get a little fat on you. And again, you can work out and cut that off. No one's saying you can't. But at the end of the day, she's gonna love you for what you are and what you bring to her emotionally. They're not on logic here. They're running on emotion. So, and again, y'all are right at what y'all saying, but I don't want these guys to get a wrong sense of reality that just because they still fit at 40 or 50, that their wives are happy. Because
no. That is not what we're saying. And this is, I'm glad that you said this. Being fit doesn't guarantee you a goddamn thing as a man any more than it guarantees you anything for a woman. However, it does again. And Steve, you and I, we have to tell our guys this all the time. Guys say, well, it's just money and looks and being rich and ripped. No. That gets you opportunities with women. There are many rich, good-looking, ripped men who are terrible with women because they don't have that inner game. They don't have self-confidence. That self-confidence is based on external things. My body, my dick, my money. Yeah, okay, girls will give you a look, but when they get with you and they see that you're not really much of anything except for what you have on the outside, that's when they check out. But by the same token, these things are important. These things can be important to women. Obviously, the guy who's much stronger on the inside is going to have more success in terms of keeping his woman in line than the guy who does not. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to. Yeah, and I agree. The older a woman gets, the tougher it is for her to keep in shape. You want to know something? I just built a gym in my garage. And the way I see it is this, and I'll get your opinion on this, Ken and Anthony, because I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. I can't ask my woman to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. If I'm going to tell Devin, hey, you better keep in shape, then guess what? I got to keep my ass in shape too. That's a condition that I'm putting on myself and her. What are your thoughts on sort of double entendre type conditions, Ken?
Double entendre? Tell me more about what you mean by that.
Well, in other words, there are a lot of men and women who expect things from their partner, their husbands, their wives, their girlfriends that they
right.
Or won't.
The double standard is what you're going after. Sorry. The idea of double standard and everything. Yeah, of course. Of course. And this is part of the whole thing. I think it pushes into the idea of how do we empower each other. And I love what Steve's talking about, because a woman's empowered by emotional connection. And that's a deep thing. And also, so me being the strongest man I can be is not just strength by lifting. I'm also and this is a really, gosh, this will take us a totally different place, is the whole idea of being emotionally open or vulnerable with my woman. I mean, that's something that is an incredibly profound thing. And I believe it's a very masculine thing. And I only do that with one person pretty much in my life, is be open and vulnerable with one person. And that's being able to provide her that, my emotional open, my space, that heart space within me. That's me giving that. And I think the non-negotiable is, how do you handle that? If you handle that with respect, back to Steve's word, and I want to hear more about respect as well. But this is me. This is who I am. Here I am, open, and this is my being. These are the things that I love. These are the things that I'm passionate about. These are the things that are important to me. This is who I am. And if you respect that and care for that well, I'm going to continue my openness with you. And I'm going to continue providing you with that emotional connection. But if you break that, I'm going to close it off. And that's kind of what Phil was talking about. Boom, there's the wall. That's the non-negotiable.
Is that involuntary, do you think?
Say that again. Is
that voluntary or is that involuntary?
Oh, this is. Are you talking about for her? It's involuntary.
For you? Well, both.
No. So this is absolutely voluntary. This is me choosing. I have to choose. I'm going to choose to be open. I'm choosing to give. I'm choosing to provide for her what she needs, and she's providing for me with what I need. But it's on a different level than needing you to validate me. I mean, that's a cheap ass piece of, that's nothing. The whole infatuation thing. But this is us moving to a completely different level in our relationship, where this is about commitment. It's about choice. It's about providing. It is. I am choosing to provide my openness to you. You choose to provide respect for me, and we're good.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the phone lines here. Area code 469. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey, you guys. So I want to apologize because I know you felt like I was spamming and stuff on the live, but I'm following you guys. I've been following the 21 group for a minute, and I got to say, you guys are really life changing out here. And you guys were talking about, working out and stuff, and the patriarch holding the women accountable. So I wanted to know you guys' perspective on, should the women hold themselves accountable for the things that they do and the contribution in their relationship, or is that mainly the man's duty to hold them accountable, if that makes sense?
I think I'll go first. I think it can be a little bit of both, and I'll tell you why. Women are capable of holding themselves accountable, but they don't. In my opinion, a woman's default mechanism, her default setting, is to self-destruct. And this is why when you give women any kind of control, any kind of sole independent control over anything, they destroy it. If they're single until they're 30, they destroy themselves with alcohol, dick, and chocolate cake. If a single mother raises her children, and if she raises her children by herself, she destroys her children. Her daughters become sluts. Her son either becomes gay or a criminal or a gay criminal. It's like women are self-destructive. Now, under the guidance and tutelage of a man.
Just to be clear and back Donovan up, the stats on single motherhood are that bad.
Yes, it is that bad. I mean, I talk in jest and I say a lot of things tongue in cheek, but they're rooted in truth. So in terms of a woman holding herself accountable, a woman is more likely to hold herself accountable if she knows that if she does not, the man will hold her accountable. But expecting a woman to independently hold herself accountable, to me, that's wishful thinking. She has to know that you're going to hold her accountable before she holds herself accountable. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to be the one to call her out. What are you guys' thoughts?
Dude, man, this is one of the things that probably the most important to vet a woman when you start a relationship. I think the number one thing is she a woman that can be held accountable? Does she hold herself accountable? I think that easily me, that shows more character about that woman than anything. And to Donovan, to your point, as far as self-destruct, I think if women listen to and live by the narrative that's being taught to women, kind of the feminist agenda, they will fall apart. It is self-destructive. But that's not the only narrative out there. And there are women who actually can be held accountable and actually do hold themselves accountable. And those are women of character. And there are some women out there like that. And so being able to find a woman like that and be able to then be a man who has boundaries, that's the accountability. And being able to say, no, you can't treat me this way, or no, that's not right to be able to talk this way, or whatever. And I think, and if she respects that and she listens to it and she is teaming with you on that, okay, let's do this right. I think the best illustration of this has been the whole idea that the feminine is fluid and the masculine is solid, and the feminine flows like a river, and the masculine is the riverbank saying we're going this way, or this is the way we're going. That's the accountability we're talking about, the leadership we're talking about, the frame we're talking about. Being able to say, this is where the family's going. This is where the relationship's going. This is behavior that's good or bad.
Direction.
Direction. Absolutely. This is where we're going. Letting her flow. She's a female. She's flowing. It's beautiful. It's awesome. But here's a little bit of direction that I'm giving in my life, in our relationship, and being able to say, this is where we're going, or this is where we're going, or this is good, or this is not right.
To back up, I want to hit on a point Ken just made. So my theory, I've thought about this for a little while now, probably about a year and a half or something like that, is that for women to take accountability for themselves, to become self-responsible, the character trait that Ken's talking about, I think that's very difficult for them, but it is possible. Mm-hmm. I think it's the equivalent in men of not thinking with your dick and thinking with your head, which is very hard for young men to overcome. This is why we have the saying, young, dumb, and full of cum. And so men in their 20s get into it's one of the reasons men get into toxic relationships. Personality disorders involved or not, just unhealthy, dysfunctional things. So I think for women to do that, they can do it, and it's hard and it's difficult. And a lot of them don't do it until later, after they've been run, at least today, through the feminist meat grinder of Tinder and, the cock carousel, getting fat, drinking like crazy, all kinds of shenanigans they get into, STDs, abortions, all kinds of crap. But it can be done, and I think that the ones especially that come from better households with better fathers and mothers that parent them right, they tend to adopt this better. And you see this, I think, in non-Western nations, like I've seen in Poland and stuff like that. And even I think in parts of South America where family culture is a lot more intact, unlike in the West where the nuclear family and the extended family has been viciously attacked by feminists and otherwise for a long, long time. So yeah, I think it can be done. I think it is super attractive to see that, but due to my experience in America today, it's really rare in millennials and younger. Maybe in the older generations, it was more common. You'd find that, but today it's just a shit show. And rant.
Okay. I was going to say.
This is why.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, yeah, I was just saying this is why I always push. When I tell my clients about women, it's not about sex; it's about your time. I don't want to waste my time. I know what I want from a woman. I'm already vetting her from Jump Street. And as far as accountability wise, I expect now if we get in a relationship, I expect her to be able to pay her bills. Her credit score's got to be decent, and she's got to be able to handle herself without asking me for money and things like that. But these are some of the things that young men need to look at before they even try to push a woman through a threshold or move her into her house. And it's not just about her body. Remember, guys, when she's with you, she should be a representation of your laws, rules, codes, and standards. So that's important, Donovan. But I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Would you say, D?
I was actually going to come to you because this actually goes to another question that a chatter put in there. He wanted you to explain why you believe you want a woman's respect before you want her love. Because in my opinion, I think you share this opinion, a woman cannot love you if she does not respect you. So explain to the audience what you were saying there.
Yeah, I'm not in the love game. Now, I can fall in love with you later, but respect is like, again, you got to understand that I'm a kind of man that I expect certain things from certain people, especially women and myself. I listen, I'm a drama-free man. If you bring any drama in my life, you'll get your papers and you're gone. And that's just how I am. I'm more old school with this. I don't have time. There's too many women out there for me to sit around and then go to marriage counseling. No offense over the kid. Go to marriage counseling. You know what I mean? Not just saying it's not a bad thing, but I'm just saying it's too many women out there to sit there and have to try to work on something. You know, if you're fighting me on everything, if you're going against my principles and me trying to lead us, then you can either be a booty call or I'm gonna move on. I'm not doing that. So at the end of the day, man, I say F love. I want you to fall into respect. And falling into respect is not raising your voice. It's not throwing things at me. Not telling me what I can and can't do like you're my mother. That's the first hurdle we got to get past of until you get my love. Because my love is very precious to me. You got to remember, you got to kill the Minotaur and bring his head to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro just to get my attention. So it's time, attention, respect. Then we can discuss love later on. But you just don't give love away like that.
Phil,
to interject some quick Christmas spirit here, this is a book I thought would be pretty funny. I'm not advocating violence against Ken or any other marriage counselor. It's just a book. First, Kill All the Marriage Counselors. I haven't read it, but I bought it a while ago.
Dude,
I think
you sound like Ivan.
Ivan Throne? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Use Volt on the marriage counselors. I think the book, as I understood it when I bought it, it's about marriage counselors who are not like Ken Curry and other ones like Dr. Glover and stuff. The more run-of-the-mill ones that will tell men, you know, happy wife, happy life, things like this, things that are much more blue pill and unhealthy. And they're not pro-masculine, and they're not, I think they're very different from how Ken operates. And in my understanding, Ken, you're not, you know, what you believe and what you preach and your practice is not standard for your industry, as I understand it.
No, it's not. No, our industry is has taken a big shift in the last 20 years. Yeah. It's crazy because in my field, marriage and family therapy, gosh, 30 years ago, it was a really strong masculine male. I mean, the people, most of the guys that created marriage and family therapy were men, and wow. there are a few women in there. But now, oh my gosh, it's our field of therapy, man. It's like 80% women.
Wow.
And most of the women,
when you're talking, yeah.
What's that, Donovan?
When you're talking about when you're talking about women running anything, whatever it is they're running, put it in air quotes.
Yeah. It's just like that's most therapists are women, and most of those therapists, even a lot of the male therapists, have been given their training is through the feminist imperative. So yeah. That's kind of how it is. So yeah, this is yes.
Phil,
go ahead.
So sorry, thoughts on respect, and I think this is I don't know, this is kind of a home run question. I can't imagine us on the panel would ever say, well, listen, a woman doesn't have to respect you to love you, but there are people who would quite possibly be listening to this that say, wait a minute, why is respect intrinsic to love?
Well, I will tell you this, if my wife begins to disrespect me and not follow, as Steve would say, codes, rules, and ethics, she's got to go. You know, because I respect myself first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's probably listening right now, and it's the truth, and she knows it. You know, the way I look at it is, you know, if you put a woman in control, it's kind of like Wreck-It Ralph. Y'all remember that video game?
Yes.
What did he say? I'm gonna wreck it. They have no control at all. They do that, and that's because that's putting them in an element they aren't designed for. They are designed to nurture and raise children and care for the home and whatnot, and we are designed to lead and direct, and that's it. You know, and that's how I feel about it. You know, I think that respect goes a long ways, you know, in designing how a relationship will work. You know, I think that, unfortunately, Ken, you're probably going to be upset about this. What I'm about to say is,
please,
you know, when it comes to marriage counseling, this is how good my experience has been. My ex-wife and I went to marriage counseling, and I'm here to tell you, when I sat down, it was nothing but a negotiation.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You know, and so, you know, and it was her idea. She's like, look, I can get these 10 sessions for free, and we're going to go and work this out, and it's all going to be good. Look, I'm not going to negotiate for behavior that I desire and that makes me happy and respect in my home and to me. So we got through a couple sessions, and the counselor looked at me and he goes, Mr. Foster, you can go ahead and step out. And he looked at my ex-wife and he had said, you just need to stay. And so it was clear as plain as day that, hey, I'm not interested in negotiating anything here. I'm interested in what I need to be, my needs to be met. I don't care about the rest of it. She had zero respect.
You can't negotiate respect.
What's that?
This is what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're being disrespected, and this goes for anybody, man or woman, if you're being disrespected, or if you feel like, your boundaries are constantly being crossed, and you just need to put the other person on notice straight up and say, hey, this isn't working for me. I gotta go. I can't do this. I've had some, in my marriage with my wife now, I mean, we've been together 10 years and we've had scrapes. I mean, because we're freaking married, you know what I mean?
Of course. But
I let her know real quick, hey, this can't continue on like this. We gotta, and so it's kind of like going back to the river and the short analogy, it's like course correction. I see that drift, and it's like, sailing a ship. I just kind of put her right back on.
Absolutely.
Nope.
Absolutely.
Nope. And that goes to say that, the example set to my daughter, my wife sets an excellent example, hair, makeup, clothes on point before she even leaves the house. Hell, when she goes to work out, she looks right. Now, I'm not saying she's some cardio bunny up there and got her ass all hanging out, but you know what I'm saying? But the moral of the story is you have to find, and it's tough these days, you have to find a woman that can be, that respects herself. And, unfortunately, it's a dumpster fire for any woman that's under 35. You know what I mean? In my personal opinion, a lot of these women, they just don't care anymore because the social media they're being fed. Oh, it's cool to get out and get drunk and have 50 cocks run through you, and do a bunch of drugs and drop out of school. I mean, it just is what it is,
Dude, I'm in the middle of that shit, and it is a shit show, man. Like, going to Poland this year was the best thing I've done in years for my mental health with regards to women.
Yeah,
and America, it's just a shit show, man. It's not all these girls are sugar babies. They're all engaging in soft prostitution, rampant drugs at like these music festivals and shit. Single motherhood in Orlando is rampant, or the surrounding areas. We even have nicknames for the cities around here. Like Altamont is Altamont Springs. Wonder Mom Gardens, like all the winter, because it's like Winter Garden. It's fucking ridiculous. I didn't even make these up. This is just shit I hear. It's like, it's so prevalent, and it's not just Orlando. It's like any, I think, meaningfully sized American city, this shit's going on. And stats back it up. Like, single motherhood's been on the rise. I think it's higher than it's ever been right now, approximately. Easily. America, I found the other day, has the highest rate of single motherhood on the planet. Literally, out of every fucking country on the planet. Russia, actually, or no, Russia. Some countries are surprisingly high, but America's the highest. And I think the UK is like second or third behind that. So yeah, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
They can win the friggin' divorce lottery, the kid lottery.
I don't have any motivation.
Dude, it's crazy. It's crazy.
To piggyback off of what Anthony just said, there is what I believe to be an ignorant comment in the chat. And I would like for you guys to disagree with me if you think this. So Vivian Venetia says, there are many men who do not recognize or respect submission. When it is given, it is rejected or blows up the ego to the point where the man destroys the respect. 100% bullshit. This kind of narrative, this kind of bullshit that women like to spew, that is their excuse not to submit to a man. That's it. Well, I don't submit because when it's given, men don't respect submission. No, men do respect submission. I've never met a woman who says, you know what? The reason why he dumped me is because I'm just too feminine. The reason he dumped me is because I'm too submissive. To me, that false narrative, bullshit statements like that, these are the things that women cling to avoid doing the hard thing that comes with getting with a man of high quality and a man of high value. I'm not going to be submissive because there are a lot of men who don't respect submission. That's bullshit. So let me put the question to the panel. One word answer. Anthony, do you respect submission by a woman?
Yes.
Okay, Ken.
Yes.
Steve.
I have some more to add to it, but yeah.
And I'll come back around for the additions here. Steve, I know. Steve,
Si, senor.
And Phil, do you respect submission in a woman?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Anthony, explain what you mean when you say, yes, I'm not going to destroy a woman who is being submissive to me.
No, yeah, of course. So my additional commentary on the yes is an 80-20. So 80% yes, 20% no. And I'm not referring to myself. I'm referring to stats on that, demographics.
Okay.
There are plenty of men that I might even have I'm just saying 80-20 kind of loosey-goosey on it, but there's plenty of men who have been blue pill conditioned by rampant Disney feminist bullshit their whole lives. And when they see submission in a woman and things like that, they don't even know what the fuck they're looking at. There are plenty of beta schmucks out there, not to beat on them too much, but they don't know what they're looking at. They don't know how to respond to it. Think about the male feminists. You think they're going to respond well to genuine?
No, but those are the men that Vivian is talking about. No, she's not talking mamby-pamby soy boys. Like, let's not pretend that that's who Vivian's talking about, because she knows she's not.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, I agree with you. Most women will. So I've seen this. You see this on Instagram all the time, even on Tinder and shit. These women, it is bullshit. It's a game they're playing in public, and it's fucking stupid. So yeah, I'd agree with you on that. There's a lot of stupid bullshit going on there. But there's also a genuine component where men, dude, probably by the millions, that this shit happens in some sort of relationship, whether it's young or older, and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to have a healthy masculine response to it. They don't know how to fucking, when she submits, grab her by the throat and fuck the shit out of her. Like, this is what she wants.
Right.
I'm assuming this is like in the moment, whatever the fuck's going on.
To me, that is a far cry from it being rejected. Listen, men don't reject submissive women. There are a lot of men out there that don't know how to act. Like, they're like, oh, wait a minute, she's being submissive. She's asking me permission to do X, Y, and Z. What do I do? To me, that is a far cry from rejection. Steve, what are your thoughts on this? So you said, yes, I do respect submission in a woman. I do not destroy her via submission.
Well, yeah, but this is a statement from a grass-eating lion who hasn't had a piece of ass since he came out of one. And this is the problem with a lot of guys. A lot of guys, yeah, they sit around and make all these goofy-ass statements and everything. And you can tell that they don't even have women even say that. Listen, if a woman submits to you, she's supposed to submit to you. That's how they are. Why would you feel some kind of way because she's looking and seeking for your approval? She wants you to lead her through the tunnel. What is the problem? I mean, when you say those asinine statements, it shows why the women that are listening to this show right now, why they run guys grass-eating lions like you, because they smell weakness in the water by your statements, man. That's all I wanted to say, man.
Phil.
Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on, obviously you're married, you're in a relationship. Would you ever destroy a woman using her submissiveness?
I completely let that submissiveness flourish. The more she submits, the more she is able to do her feminine things. She's happy.
Yes.
When you start giving her control, it starts diving, man, to the ground. It's basically, I think that she's happiest when she's got her apron on and she's baking for the neighbors. And she's killing it on her schedule for our daughter at school, and everything is done in her home and it's clean. And it's when those things fall out of line that I see that she struggles. So I think a woman that is submissive to her man is a beautiful thing. Now, there are some ding-dongs out there that will take that submissive for granted and abuse them. It doesn't have to be like that. It really doesn't. I mean, we live a similar lifestyle to some other guys that are on this show occasionally.
Sure.
And the whole submissive thing is pretty much I would say a contract between the two of us to where, hey, this are the expectations that I expect from you, and for me to receive those expectations fulfilled, I need to make sure that my part is being done as well. If you're destroying a woman for being submissive to you, you're an idiot.
Absolutely.
And I think you guys are right. A lot of the soy boys out there and a lot of this younger generation, they're pretty feminized. Yep, and the male feminists, as well. It's like, oh well, it's all girl power. And that's the real big problem right there is, feminism has taken that submissiveness out of women, unfortunately. Yeah. And just wiped it away, really.
I would add too, Phil, that the women have had it beaten out of them the submission that they're by feminism, that they're not supposed to submit, that it's bad, that it's submitting to the patriarchy and your oppressors and all this bullshit. On top of that, what I was saying with the guy, it's not just soy boys. Like, it's not just that. There's plenty of guys, even like you could say like a blue pill alpha or like a masculinized beta. They don't know when a woman submits to you genuinely, she's looking for a positive alpha response, like that part of your brain. And if you don't give that to her and she's genuinely giving it to you, that creates conflict. They don't like that. And they have a right not to like that. They should be expecting, like, if they want to get fucking a belt around the neck and get fucked savagely, and that's what they were pushing for in submission, or whatever the case is, right? I'm using sex in this case, but they're expecting like the feedback from that to be positive. And feminism is throwing a wrench into that at a deep level in culture. Because this is how people are raised. You grew up watching this Disney bullshit. Like, these kids are now like Frozen and all this crap.
God, yeah.
Everybody's a fucking princess and all this no consequence bullshit and whatever else is in there. It's a shit show, and that gets ingrained in your head, man. Over when you're a kid, when you're a sponge, and getting that out is tough.
Here's a disconnect. And area code 443. I see you in the queue. I'm going to get to you in just 1 second. Women don't see submission is voluntary. A woman, you cannot make a woman submit to you. You can't make her do it. She has to want to, because submission is simply the act of relinquishing control. Okay. And a woman's not going to relinquish control to a man who is not in control. Women don't like controlling men. They don't love controlling men. They love men who are in control. And I think a lot of women, and women know this. They know the difference. A lot of guys don't. Women know the difference. But again, to give themselves permission not to submit, they use bullshit. Well, if a man's going to destroy me, destroys the respect. Get the hell out of here. I'll tell you a quick story, and then we'll go to area code 443. Last night, this is actually respect and submission. Last night or yesterday afternoon, I met a reservation for an expensive restaurant. Wanted to take Devin out for dinner, have a nice time, blah 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 blah. Well, about a half an hour before our reservation was supposed to take place, she wakes up. She's all groggy-eyed. And I told her, I was like, "Look, I'm canceling the reservation. I'd already done." She's like, "What? I can be ready in 5 minutes." I said, "Oh no. I didn't make a reservation at this restaurant for you to be ready in 5 minutes." Okay. If you want to be ready in 5 minutes, I can take you to TGI Fridays. I can take you to Chili's. I can take you to Applebee's. But if we're going to go to the place that I want us to go to, being ready in 5 minutes or less ain't going to cut it. And I was getting ready for some queso dip and the chocolate lava cake. So I came in here and I just chilled out and got to work. Devin went to the bathroom, and probably in about 45 minutes, she showered, did her hair, curled her hair, came back out. And as soon as I smelled that perfume, I said, okay, now she's doing what she's supposed to do. That's the masculine response she's looking for. She doesn't want me to get in the shower. No. If you don't want to take the time to look the part for this restaurant, then I'm simply going to remove the reservation. When she upheld her end of the bargain, I upheld mine. That is submission and respect. You're not going to disrespect where I'm taking you by putting your hair in a ponytail. And no. You need to get your ass in the shower. You need to shave everything from the eyebrows down, put on a skirt and heels, and we're going to have a rough time. And it ended up being a great night. Ended up being an unbelievable night.
Hey, Donovan, before you go to the call, let me because this whole thing of submission and everything, I'm a really strong advocate for our masculinity being a natural thing. It's in our DNA, right? It's and when I experience submission, when I experience vulnerability from my wife, it's like, man, it activates something completely deep and powerful within me. I want to rise up and be strong. I want to be a man of fortitude. I want to protect. I want to provide. It's like it activates something within me that just is like, damn, I'm your man. And so the opposite of rejecting a woman or controlling a woman, it's like she, through being a submissive woman, activates something so deep and strong within me that's really powerful. And this is the thing. It's a really significant how the masculine and feminine and the polarity and how it all flows together, man, it is incredibly beautiful.
Well, to play devil's advocate, this is also a reason why fake submission is a powerful manipulation tool by women who want to manipulate you.
Yes.
And it takes time to develop the experience and the wisdom to see through that. Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's not personality deterrence. Chicks will definitely do that. But even ones who just want to get their way in some other mechanism because of whatever fucking reason, yeah, you got to watch out for that. And that's
I
talked
think
about in the manosphere to a good degree, but maybe not enough.
Well, this is exactly why I tell my guys, you got to put a woman through her paces. Any woman can act submissive for a month and a half, right? Any woman can fake the funk for 6 months. You have to put her through her paces for at least a year, year and a half. You need to put her through 4 seasons twice to know who she really is. Well, what if she fakes the funk for 2 years, Donovan? Then what? Well, at 2 years, she's not really faking anymore because that now becomes who she really is.
I disagree. I mean, you're talking about levels of dedication that are going to be statistically spread through the population. And chicks who are more dedicated to this, like dude, Medusa was, people don't understand this. So my ex-wife, she was like this perfect TradCon wife as far as everyone who met her, from consistently, friends coming by on the weekend, speakers, family, like absolutely played this for years.
Wow.
Did a good job.
By the way,
that's an extreme example, though. What's up?
Okay, that makes sense. And so and you're right, Anthony. I would qualify this statement, and I think Medusa is probably dark triad, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Most women can't pull off what Medusa did.
Agreed.
Women there that do this. If you run up on one, God help you. I got no answers for you.
I mean, in her case, I think, whatever was going on in her brain and her past and her trauma and whatever the combination of that caused that kind of behavior, not just with me, but everyone in her life ever. That's what you're seeing is an expression of motivation and behavior in real life. And other women are going to have variations of that. You're saying 4 seasons twice. Other guys would say 1 set of 4 seasons. Dude, some guys get married in 6 months and that shit lasts 40 years. So it's hard.
That doesn't happen today. Maybe back in the 19. Oh, I met Melvin and he swept me off my feet. And in 1 month we got married and here we are 50 years.
Hey, there's Amish people today floating around getting married. I'm sure that they have still a 3% divorce rate or something.
Is it Amish people?
Yeah, Amish people. I mean, that's an outlier example, but
of course.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that it's a continuum of behavior and how dedicated they are going to be to their cause. And for most women, they're not going to make it past 2 years. I'd agree with that. That to keep a fake mask up that long is fucking hard. But some women will be able to do that, disordered or not, in the personality section.
A woman is only as genuine as her mission dictates. That's all there is to it. If her mission is to lock you down, then she will be genuinely feminine. If her mission is to take advantage of you, she will be genuinely feminine until she gets her commitment.
I mean, her mission is probably to survive and reproduce like every other human being. So you gotta keep an eye out for that shit. Absolutely. Mystery, right? Survival and reproduction.
Let's go to area code 443. Area code 443. You're on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah. What's your question?
Hey.
How are you? Yeah. Good afternoon. How are you all?
Good. What's your question?
I appreciate this panel that you have on today because I was raised by a man single-handedly in a culture that did not accept that. And I truly agree with the fact that respect is very important towards a man. He'll not be able to carry on responsibility if he has a woman who's going to be weighing down certain weights on him based on disrespecting what he plans to do. Now, hindsight, women don't think in the futuristic sense. Sometimes they always think about themselves and only now what satisfies them because of their highly run emotional life.
You don't say.
And that's what we're losing game. So when I look at females and we're here trying to give a man a hard time, it's better off not to, because if you're not aligned with respecting him, you're not going to get anywhere.
I'm picking up an accent. Caller, I'm picking up an accent. Where are you from and what country were you raised in?
I was raised by a Kenyan dad single-handedly. That's in Africa. And this was back in the 70s where even a divorce was not allowed.
Wow.
Funny enough,
Jesus.
What happened is when they had to do a dowry thing, exchange, you pay for your bride. Unfortunately, my mother did not meet the standards of being a good bride as much as she was a mother. He then went back and asked the whole family, you're going to have to give me a refund, which is really unheard of. Because why?
A refund?
What?
Yeah, because she cannot cook.
Yeah.
He said, yo, I want my money back, man.
Bring back the dowry. Let's talk dowry, man.
And believe it or not, he got it.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
Customer service at work.
And he was told he can keep the children as well. I'm his firstborn, and when he raised me, trust me, Barbie dolls were thrown out because he said this is where the game starts. You buy Barbie dolls, The next thing you know, Ken and Barbie are playing. Ken is the one who's coming to bring things to Barbie. She's building a home, and Ken is not a happy man. He's just seen riding a car. So you threw that out, and he introduced the idea of you're going to see problems, and you're going to have to respect what goes through the process of solving problems for the greater future.
Thanks for the call, area code 443. So she's raised in Kenya, and obviously there are some different elements in the country of Kenya that obviously don't apply in the West. But the general principle is if a woman does not uphold her end of the... See, what Phil said earlier, 100% spot on. All relationships, from romantic relationships, business relationships, they're all transactional. A woman is exchanging her sexual exclusivity for a man's resources. This is conditional love. If you don't give me exclusivity, I'm not going to give you resources. That's really what it boils down to. Mm-hmm. And this woman was raised in a culture that was like, hey, listen, what, you can't cook? Nope, I want my money back. Probably got the receipt, took her back, and hopefully took another one home. I'm going to pose one more question to the panel, and hopefully whatever area code 402 has to say about this. I'm going to pose the questions to the panel first, then I'm going to get to area code 402. Male love versus female love. A lot of people seem to think that men love exactly the same as women do. Some people say that men love sacrificially, women love opportunistically. I'm not smart enough to do that level of mental gymnastics. So I'll start with Ken. I think you're probably the one most qualified in terms of the head doctor stuff. What, in your opinion, is the difference between the way a man loves and the way a woman loves in both the romantic relationship and paternally and maternally, right? I think men love
Donovan, you're cutting up.
Yeah, I didn't get the last part of that.
You completely froze. Donovan? Man down, man overboard.
Man down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, didn't get the last part of what you said, Donovan.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah. Maybe just kind of rephrase the whole thing and try to shorten it. We lost a lot of it.
No, absolutely. What's the difference between male love and female love in a romantic sense and a parental sense? Men love differently from women, obviously romantically, but do they love differently as far as their children are concerned?
So I think one of the best things that the manosphere and the red pill community in particular has ever done, I've never seen anyone else do it, is distinguish between male and female love, because there's a focus on the idea and the fact that men and women are different, biologically, physically, psychologically, all these things. So I saw that at first in 2016 when I found the red pill community, and I was fascinated by it, and I still am. And even philosophically, I've never seen anyone else outside of this community do that, distinguish between the two. And I do think that men and women love differently. And that's where a lot of the confusion and the disagreement comes from. It's a men have like expectations about how women are going to love them, like unconditionally and all this crap. And a lot of it's fed by feminism and blue pill stuff, but a lot of it's not. And I do think that we love women differently, and we value different things. We love differently because we value differently, and we value differently because we're physically fundamentally different.
I like that.
Our whole life experience is different. As children, it's different. Puberty is different. As adults, it's different. As a wife versus a husband, being that, it's different. I mean, their whole what arouses them, turns them on, and drives them to be passionate and to live life is different from us. We admire, for example, beauty in women, and I don't think that it's the same way in reverse. Women do admire the way we appear and things like that, but it's different. I mean, think about artists throughout history and what they painted as inspired by women or of women versus the other way around and things like that. And, women, even Phil, look at his relationship with his wife. He talks about her being nurturing and how he values these things and his boundaries he has. He leads, he commands things, and she fucking loves that. I can guarantee you. I have no doubt about what he's saying. That to me is actually that should be pretty normal. And the fact that today that it's not is pretty strange. Like Ken talks about, this is natural. Your masculinity is natural. It's encoded in your DNA. And when a woman submits, it should arouse that in you and inspire that in you. Mm-hmm. Especially if it's genuine. It's not being a ploy for something else. So, and Ram, you want to get into the parental stuff. I want to let the rest of the panel talk. I don't want to keep yapping.
Yeah, Ken, what do you think is the difference between male and female love as far as their children are concerned?
Well, the children, so the whole thing of the father's posture, the mother's posture is totally different. A father's posture is, I want my kids to grow up as confident, strong people who can handle just about anything that life handles them or throws at them. And so it's about confidence. I want my kids to be strong. And so that's why a dad has no problem throwing his kids into the void, or throwing them into the difficult situation, or creating more strong discipline, or even initiation, possibly. A mother's energy is about well-being, safety, security, making sure everybody's okay, making sure everybody's fed, making sure everybody's nurtured. It's a totally different energy, and oftentimes it collides big time. I remember when my oldest, my daughter, she did a gap year between high school and college, and what she did a really cool thing, a mission and where she first went to Amsterdam. And this is back when we didn't have cell phones like we do. It was 2004, I think. And so we didn't have all this real time connection. And so she flew out, and we're all watching her go, into the through security and everything. And my wife, man, it was the worst agony she ever experienced, because it's like, what's going to happen with my daughter? And she was just true agony, because she had no idea about her well-being. Me, on the other hand, I'm like, go kill it, go do it. Completely different energy. And that's the difference between how men and women, fathers and mothers, love their children.
We're talking too, Ken, about how it can collide, but to me it sounds like, and I'm assuming you would agree with this just based on what I know of your work, that it's also very complementary, or that it can be, and it should be most of the time.
Absolutely. And this goes back to respect. Me respecting that's my wife's passion. And that well-being and safety is a really big deal. I need to respect it. I need to understand my woman. I need to understand
your children need that from their
absolutely,
their
mother, absolutely. Yeah. And my wife needs to respect that this is my passion. I want her, and because she understands that that's a powerful thing as well. Yeah. And so I think loving our kids as parents, it comes out in a different form. It's a different energy, but respecting each other, man, so much of what we're talking about today is respect. And respecting what she brings to the table, she respecting what I bring to the table, and working together as a really powerful team. Man, I'm telling you, it's a really significant thing.
If there's one thing that I think feminism has fundamentally almost destroyed at this point completely, it's respect between the genders. And I think at every level, not just in a marriage or a specific relationship, but the whole culture. We see that, and you don't feel that when I went to Poland, for example. Again, like, that's completely non-existent there. Men and women get along. There's a fundamental respect in both directions. Like, you expect these women to be feminine, and they act feminine, and they expect men to be masculine and act like men in everyday life. Just walk around fucking Starbucks or something. It's amazing. Yeah. And in America, that's been really, really damaged at this point, I think. And it sucks. And that's why we have all this tension, I think, too.
Yeah.
Steve, what are your thoughts? Your children versus the way you love your wife versus the way you love your children, as opposed to the way your wife loves you and the way she loves your children.
Well, the way I love my children is I always punch my sons in the chest.
See that? There we go.
I always show my daughters that there's only one man that loves you, and that's daddy. So I'm always harder. I separate them. I love them all the same, yes, but my boys don't get the kind of love that I give my daughters, because I nurture my daughters more. And I make sure my boys understand that life is not sunshine and rainbows, and they've got to be stronger and tougher. Yes, my girls got to be stronger and tougher, but they've got to know what a man is, and they're lucky enough to see one every day. So I'm not worried about them in relationships and all the other stuff. But the thing about all my kids at the end of the day is they don't want to disappoint mom and dad. That's the most important thing. Their world is crushed when we're disappointed in them. And that's our greatest power that we have over them, is that we don't have to tell them twice to do things, but we rarely are disappointed. But when we are disappointed, it crushes them, because how much they care about us and what we think about them, number one. But as far as my woman, when it comes to that, and that's why I always tell guys, it's the little things. A lot of people don't know about the little things. You've got to listen with your eyes and listen with your ears, and you've got to know little things that your woman likes. I mean, how many men, when you're driving in the car with your woman, just kiss her hand just to kiss her hand, just because? My woman can't walk through the door, bend over, take a shower without me jumping in the shower. We pillow fight, water fight, we tickle. There was one time she painted my nails pink, and when I was sleeping, and made me go to Walmart because I was walking around in flip flops. She jokes. That was a joke. I wasn't doing it on. That's how we are with each other. We play games with each other and stuff like that. But
Steve,
I can
you
say,
sound so purple pill. How do you get along with a woman like that? This is ridiculous, man.
How do I get along with a
purple pill sham?
Right, but as I'm saying, well, how do I get along? Because I'm the rock of the house. I'm a Williams. All I can say to that A1 is I'm a Williams at the end of the day, and everything falls under the umbrella of my standard. Again, like I say, if you don't want a wife, you don't have to have one. If you don't want kids, you don't have to have one. But if you do, this is why it's important to know what you want out of the gate, what you expect in these relationships, because that's why they always fail. But I don't want to go on the soapbox, but I'm just saying at the end of the day is that I've known women well enough to read with my eyes, know facial expressions, knowing how she feels without her having to tell me how she feels. I know when she's having a good day. I know when she's having a bad day. I know when she's happy or when she wants to talk. Those are things that you have to recognize in women. But I don't want to go into it. But they are. But yes, I guess that's purple people peel. I don't know that.
Pink pill.
Gentlemen, I got to leave. I got a date with my daughter. So speaking of talking about being a parent, so
there you
guys,
go.
It's been a great conversation, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, thanks for stopping in, man.
Yeah, you bet. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Ken Curry of thesolidman.com. Be sure to check him out. Got a comment in the chat here. Then we're going to hit the phone line. So Unique79 says men need to be wise on how to use red pill knowledge. Red pill knowledge wakes you up, but if you are not careful, you can get sucked into not loving a woman and becoming bitter towards women. I think there's definitely a danger in that. But in order to truly love a woman, you have to know a woman. And knowing women after being blue pill conditioned all these years, yeah, it does require you to have a level of and see, I think that bitterness should be a phase, but it shouldn't be static, right? We all, most people, at least as far as I'm concerned, when I found the red pill, there was a 2 or 3 month stretch where I was very bitter towards women. But when I learned that, yes, women are responsible and accountable, yes, they are culpable in their decisions. But when you begin to learn who and what women really are and understand that they're doing a lot of the things they do because it's their biological imperative, you have much less disdain for them. So I agree with that. You don't want to be bitter towards women, but by the same token, you don't want to be looking at them through rose-colored glasses, because only the men who look at women through rose-colored glasses, those are the ones who become super bitter when they find out the truth about women.
Yeah. Donovan, I back that up 100%, man. In fact, I would say that like a bitter phase, these phases that we go through with, the red pill rabbit hole and understanding women, the truth, right, that we're not supposed to know today. I think these things are therapeutic, actually. I wish Ken was still here to kind of talk on that too as a therapist, but anger is a therapeutic process if it's temporary and not permanent. Bitterness is a therapeutic process because you're being disillusioned from bullshit. And I think you have a right to be pissed off if you've been lied to. And you're responsible for accepting those lies, like eating bad food. You swallowed the fucking food. The spoon didn't put the food in your mouth. You put the fucking food in your mouth. But yeah, in the West today, in America and Canada and stuff, we are surrounded by this crap. And there's different processes. I don't even think too that it's it should be temporary thing at a time. But I also think that a lot of these can be cyclical. At least that's been my experience. Huh. The bitterness phase with women and anger, these different phases that we go through, even positive ones too. This is a cycle of life and being a man and going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole and understanding women better over time. That's been my experience, 31 now. And after finding the manosphere at 17 and the red pill at 27, you go through phases with stuff. And a lot of that will relate to specific events in your life. But some of it's just kind of like, I think, generalized too. As culture keeps moving forward, some of it gets better, some of it gets more fucked up. You travel, you experience the world, you become more of a man. So 100%, that's been my experience. And I think that a lot of it's actually therapeutic to the extent you don't get stuck in it, in which case you're stuck in dysfunction is what that is.
Yeah, you don't want that. So. You don't want any of that. All right, let's go to our last caller of the day, area code 402. You're live at the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes. What's your question?
Awesome. Yeah, this is Viv. I just wanted to clarify before you guys ended your talk. I think there was a little bit of interpretation of what it was that I said. I said there are many men who do not recognize respect or submission. I wasn't saying that men do not respect submission. Indeed, there are a lot of men who do. However, I probably should have said blue-pilled or simpish, so that was my mistake. But I'm speaking from experience, not indoctrination. I was raised by a lot of really wonderful masculine men. My grandfather was Polish. You know, my dad was a Southern man. I was taught a lot of these values that you guys are talking about. But then when you go into the real world, yeah, we are inundated with a bunch of indoctrinated people, men and women who have been mentally Disneyfied.
Yeah.
And it's very heartbreaking. It literally, it breaks my heart.
It breaks up families too.
We could have wonderful relationships with one another if we were actually raised to recognize what respect looks like, what submission looks like, and how to interact with each other on that level. And it's painful to not have men in my everyday life that I can encounter just, you know, walking down the street who intrinsically and innately know this because they were raised in it. That's all I wanted to say, guys.
This chick's great. Bravo. This chick's awesome.
Well, thanks for clarifying. That's Vivian, the one that
yeah.
On the. All right, cool. Well, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I was suspecting too with the question, that she left out some context like that. And I don't doubt it, man. Tanner Guzzi calls the rest of America outside of where he lives like the ruins culturally. And that's what she's talking about. It goes both ways, man. These women are all, fucked up and feminists and single mothers and all this crap. Dude, it's the same way in reverse for them. A lot of these dudes, even if they're not, Vichy male, aggressive or retarded feminists or male feminists, like those are just the extreme ones, right? Like whatever, 5% of the population or some shit.
Sure.
A lot of dudes are just, simping with blue pill bullshit and they don't know any better. They don't fucking know. And then the minute they hear something different, they're conditioned and brainwashed to reject it and get aggressive with you, or not even aggressive, but they want to viciously reject it and they'll attack you, and you'll be socially ostracized talking about red pill crap in public. I mean, what I've done in my life, I'm very public with my views on my own Facebook.
Oh, you know it.
There's over 1,000 women on there, and I get, a lot of them have been banned. I've had to block them or ban them. Some of them, they block me and shit. They get so aggravated by what I write, they have to unfriend me and shit. It drives them fucking nuts. Just dropping these videos and shit. They just go bananas. I'm like, yeah, well, get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Anyway. Fuck out of here, man. That I'm not trying to hear. I'm not trying to hear anything else, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, take it or leave it. Get the fuck out of my face. So,
all right, guys. With that, that's going to draw. We've actually been on the air for almost 2 hours, so we're going to go ahead and end it right here. Let's go around the panel and get our last thoughts. Phil, your final thoughts here.
Yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and circle back on that bitterness thing. When the guys do find that the red pill or whatever, and they start working through their shit and they get hung up in that, I think a lot of that has to do with what you're absorbing and from the people who you have around you. It's okay to be angry. As Anthony was saying, it's a little bit healthy. It's therapeutic or whatever, but then again, if you don't move past that anger and that bitterness, then how will you ever enjoy a woman?
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I sense something between my wife and myself, I just do a check-in. I'm just like, hey, am I not meeting the need you're supposed to be need? Are you missing something here? What's going on?
Yeah.
Right. Am I not handling something right? And if she says no, and I say, well, you need to fix that shit, correct it.
Dude.
Yeah, this is savage. This is great.
That's
you have to do. This is what we call calling your. Listen,
look at Steve's face. He's like, I approve this message.
And if you do that with your girl, there's no reason to be angry. If you just check in and say, hey, babe, what's up? What's going on? Why is this happening? Because if you can't get to the point to where you have that in a relationship with a woman, you're going to be bitter. You're going to stay angry.
Yeah. And then you're dormant bitterness, right?
Yeah.
And you hold yourself accountable because, hey, listen, your woman is going to be upset with you. We as men, we're not perfect. Maybe we are falling short. So and Phil said this perfectly. If your woman has an attitude problem, okay, all right. Is there something that I'm not doing? I mean, is there a disconnect here? if there's something there, if she has enough respect for you, she will tell you. But if there's not, well, no, there's not. Okay, well, then you need to explain to me why you're acting like XYZ, because there's obviously a problem here.
And a lot of times it's right here with her. She'll say, you know, I'm in my own head, or I'm worried I'm not going to meet that expectation that you want. And, you know, that's when I need to step back, and it's a learning process. You know, you need to step back and say, whoa, okay, well, you're doing it. You can do anything. You know, you got this, you know, and then throw a little encouragement out there. You know, does that make me blue pill or whatever? Fuck, I don't care. You know, it doesn't bother me. You know, the thing is I think guys get stuck in that bitterness because of what they're absorbing from everybody around them. You know, when everybody starts nut hugging, then that's what happens. You know, I'm going to be real with it, you know, and yes, great talk.
Excellent. Steve, final thoughts, my man.
No, I mean, he nailed everything on the head. I don't know what to say after that. I just at the end of the day, stop lying to yourselves, guys, and realize a problem is a meteor the size of Jupiter heading towards Earth. Your woman getting out of line is not a problem, but you've got to be more honest with yourself at the end of the day and realize that the anger that you're having is something that you're growing from taking one step to the next. I mean, I saw someone saying, "Why do I need to take a pill to do something with a woman?" But that's the problem. A lot of guys, you got to release. You got to break free. And for a lot of you guys, it's going to be an uncomfortable feeling of seeing the real world for what it's like, and it's going to be an upsetting thing. But you just got to navigate through it. But that's all I want to say on that, brother.
Anthony, your final thoughts.
Not too much to add, man. This has been a great show. I'm really glad I hopped on. I almost didn't come on today. I was just like fucking exhausted yesterday, but I'm glad I came on. Really great discussion from everybody, including Ken, who's had to hop off early. And fuck yeah, this is great. I think this is a really important discussion for the manosphere to have and to keep having. We had this in Poland too at the 21 convention. Steve was the host of that one. It was the whole Redman group on love, and we'll get that out eventually published, like, you know, one of the live ones. But it reminds me a lot of that episode that we filmed there back in July. So yeah, great discussion, and glad to be on it. Thanks for hosting it, Donovan.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to do it for the 91st edition of the Redman Group. Are we going to have a show next week?
Yeah, let's do it, man. If you're down.
Yeah,
let's post 28th. Let's do it. And that's the last of the year.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. All right, yeah, we'll have our I guess our annual Red Pill or Redman Group wrap up. Hopefully, we can get most, if not all, the guys on at least for a short period of time, and we'll see how that goes.
Let's do it.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Redman Group. We will see you guys the same time next week, and we're out.